Okay, back again, and this time we are going to be drawing a what's called a pipe tee, like a PVC fitting, and this is for 4-inch PVC, and our units are in inches. Thickness is this, made out of plastic, so we'll get to all that. Let me move myself out of the way here a little bit. Looks like a lot, but not too bad. So when we do this, we're going to kind of ignore these flanges, and we're going to do kind of the body of this. First, we'll add the flanges. We can create this kind of arced part using a sweep tool, and you'll see that this isn't as bad as it looks. Looks pretty complicated, but not too terrible. All right, so let's head back to Fusion, and let's turn our origin on. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw this in the top view. So the top, I'm going to right-click and create a sketch. And then what I want to do is create a circle right on the origin. And we want this to be, oops, I'm in millimeters. Excuse me. Inches. Okay, now let's try that again. And I want to be 3.5 and enter, and that's enough for now. We can go home, and then we're going to extrude this up, I believe 5 inches. Is it 5? Yep, 5. 5 inches, just straight up, and then we are going to go from there. Okay, now a couple different things we got to do. We got to create the arc that will kind of set up for the sweep of this other part of the tee. And so what we need to do is we're going to create a section view. So we want a section analysis, and I want to use this front plane. Okay, and I actually want to flip it the other way. There we go. Okay, I like that. And we're going to leave it like that for now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a new sketch on this same front plane. Okay, and then it whips me around there. That's exactly where I want it to be. We're going to hit line, and we want it to be a construction line. Hover over the origin. I want this construction line to start at a point that's directly over the origin. I want it to go out horizontal, and then we're going to dimension. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Hit Control Z, get me out of there, and Control Z again, it gets rid of that last line. All right, and now I'm going to dimension, so I hit D, click on that line, and our point there, our origin point, and we want it to be 1/4 inch, so 0.25 above that. And I want to make sure that that point stays right there. So I'm going to make sure I can give it a constraint to lock this and this right there so that doesn't move. Go back in dimension, and I want this line to be 2.75, I think. Let's go back and check here. This point is 2.75. 2.75 and enter, and then that's going to help us create an arc here. So now let's get our arc tool out, and we're going to do a center point arc, and I do not want this to be a construction line. So it's going to start here and then kind of come out here like this. We're going to click on this and on this point, and then we want it to come straight up and down 90 degrees. And just in case it didn't know that for sure, I see this point's white still. Let's give it this constraint, horizontal, and that locks it in place. And that sets up what will be the sweep for this next thing that we're going to be doing here. All right, so at this point we can finish this sketch, and we'll kind of come out here like this. And now what we want to do is we want to create a plane that's right on the end of this point, kind of perpendicular to all this stuff. And so what we're going to do is we're going to construct an offset plane, and we want it parallel to this, I guess this would be a right side. So we click that, and now we want to offset this, and we want it right out here. So instead of a distance, let's hit to object, and right on this point, and it brings that plane out so it's right on the end of this point. And we can hit OK, and this is the new plane that we're going to draw on. So I'm going to right click right there and hit create sketch. And this particular time I don't really want to be too face up. So I'm just going to take this and pivot it a little bit. All right. And now we want to create another circle that kind of matches what we have here. And on purpose, I don't want it on this point right now. I'm going to draw it off here, and I want it 3.5. I'm going to hit enter. And now we want to move it to this point, and I want to make sure it's right on there, so I'm going to hit this coincident. And I'm going to take this point, and I'm going to select this, so it's right on there. It's exactly what we want. Hit finish sketch. And now, instead of extruding or revolving, we're going to use a new one called a sweep. Right? And this is a very cool tool that you can do lots of stuff with. So first it asks us, well, what do you want to sweep? We want this circle to be the one that gets swept, right? Let's go off here like this. Okay, now what path do we want? We're going to do that arc that we made. And you see it kind of cut through there, and we don't want that right now. I want it to join up with this other one. So I'm going to hit join. I can leave all this other stuff alone. Hit OK. And now I think I like this. If you haven't done this, hit these arrows and expand your analysis, expand your bodies, sketches, construction, all that good stuff. And what's kind of cool about once we create this analysis, this section view, I can just hit this eyeball and toggle it off. And then I can see that that's exactly what we want, and we're starting to create this shape here. And that's what we're going for, all right? And so that's good right there. And so now we're going to start adding these flanges. So let's create a new sketch right on this top. Right click, create sketch. It got me upside down again, but that's okay. For this particular one, doesn't matter. We're going to hit circle right on the origin, bring it out, and we want to be at 4. Hit enter, and that's all we need there. And now we're going to hit E for extrude, and we're going to take this up and this. So we're going to make it a solid. We want that to go 2 inches up. And we are good with that right there. Hit enter, and that is exactly what we need. Now we need to do this on these other faces. And so, obviously you could just draw all these. That's certainly one way to do it. But we're going to try and do something a little bit different. I had to look something up real quick. I don't remember if I told you or not. We're going to create a new sketch on this. And again, you could just redraw all these circles and extrude them, do it kind of the other way, the old way. And that's fine. We're going to try and do a little bit maybe it's not faster for this one, but it could be faster down the road. So right click, and we're going to create a new sketch. So this becomes my 5th sketch. And what we want is we want to have that one, the one we just did, we're going to copy and paste it onto this. So what we want to do is we're going to go over here and right click on sketch 4, and it'll edit that sketch. It whips me right back up there. And this is what we want to copy. So I click it once to highlight it, right click it, and we're going to hit copy. And I'm done with that sketch. And I want to then double click sketch 5 to open that back up. And then I'm going to right click and hit paste. And then there's that 4-inch circle that we made, right? And so I can move that, and it's not wanting to recognize that. So let's try this. We'll try to use this coincident, and we can grab this point, and then that's the one that we want from our already extruded part, and it locks it right in place right there. And then we can finish that sketch. We'll come back and extrude it in a moment. In the meantime, though, let's go ahead and do the same thing. So we're going to create a new sketch down here. And we want to paste again if we can. And it looks like it can still move around, so let's constrain it by a coincident again. And now we've got it exactly where we want it. Finish sketch. And now we've got a couple things that we can extrude and pull all those out. So now we just grab our extrude, and we want that outside ring and this. Take it out a little bit, and we want it to be 2. And then let's look at the bottom and do another extrusion. Take that out, 2, and enter. And now we are really starting to have this come together. Notice everything's still solid. Still only have one body, and we are moving forward. All right, next thing we can do, we can kind of start hollowing this thing out. And so let's go into our modify, and we'll use our shell tool again that we learned. And it asks which faces we want to shell. So let's select that top one and the side one. And then let's get the bottom one also. So we'll have 3 faces. And similar to what we did in our previous drawing, it asks what we want this to be. And we want it to be 1/8 of an inch. So that's 0.125. And we can hit OK. And we want to check to see that this worked right. So let's just head back over here. We'll toggle back on our section view. We can look right at the front, and that's exactly how we want that to look. And let's leave our section view on for now. We need to add a couple things here. So let's go back and look at this. And if we were, it's hard to tell right now. Right in here, it says we've got a 0.0625 at 45 degrees chamfer on the inside. Okay, and that's at a few different places, so I'll show you that. What we want to do up here now is modify. We're going to do a chamfer. Equidistant sounds good. So which faces? We want this edge and face, and this one. And then over here we want this one, and this one. And then on the bottom, this, and this. And this would be to ease that in so that if you were assembling this using PVC pipe, all of those would work like you want them to. And we want that at a 1/16 of an inch, so 0.0625. All right, and that's exactly what we want on all of those. Okay. So now we have just a couple more, well, maybe just one thing left to add, and that is we did the chamfer, and now we have a 0.125 radius underneath these. All right. And so let's go back to our fusion. So we added a chamfer. Now we are going to add a fillet. And we want this edge right here. Now I want to spin this a little bit. This edge right here. This edge right here. And now, so that's at 3. Let's get to the back. We also want this right here. And that's going to be 0.125. And we can hit OK on that. That's looking good. Let's go ahead and turn this back off. Get to our normal view. And I believe that completes our drawing. So that was the T. That wasn't too bad. Let's turn our origin off so it looks nice. Then let's assign some material to this body. And we're going to go, I don't know, let's see if they have PVC plastic. Let's look over here. PVC piping. Let's go with that. So now we've got our PVC piping attached to that. That's good on that one. And we can open up our properties. And we are good to go on this pipe, T-pipe. All right? Thanks.